Exorcism is the practice of driving out supposed demons from an individual and has existed for as long as religion itself. No matter if you're a skeptic or a believer, count your blessings before learning about these real-life cases, covering everything from levitating beds to diabolical murder. 5. Robbie Manheim, aka Roland Doe. William Friedkin caused hysteria among theatergoers with his 1973 classic about a young girl being possessed by a sadistic spirit, The Exorcist. The Exorcist is fiction, however the film's pure horror is actually based on recorded demonic happenings that tortured a 14-year-old boy, Robbie Manheim. Robbie had an alias of Roland Doe during this time to protect his identity, as he reportedly became possessed by a sinister entity in Maryland in the 1940s. After trying to connect with his recently passed aunt using a Ouija board, eyewitnesses saw the boy levitate in the room and speak various languages whilst under the influence of whoever was on the other side of the board. The boy was having constant episodes of night terrors following his exposure to the Ouija board, and it wasn't long before priests were summoned. It took more than 30 rituals before he was relieved of these otherworldly guests. The boy even returned to a normal life just like the movie. Luckily, he did not suffer a sequel in real life. Number 4. Just Juliet. Often in cases of demonic possession, people can dismiss the afflicted as mentally ill in some way. In this case, however, we have Dr. Richard E. Gallagher, a board-certified psychiatrist and associate professor of clinical psychiatry at New York Medical College, claiming otherwise in a very strange case. In 2008, he diagnosed a patient of his, whom he named Julia, as being the victim of a demonic possession. He reached this conclusion after studying his patient's background. She had a long history with satanic groups and often would enter trance-like states as he and his colleagues recited religious prayers and invocations. She would speak in foreign languages, growl, and screamed, "Leave, you imbecile priest," among other anti-religious taunts. Dr. Gallagher, who became a delegate to the International Association of Exorcists, published his account in the New Oxford Review. Number 3. Annalise Michel. Annalise was born in 1952 West Germany. She suffered all her life from diagnosed mental illnesses and epilepsy. In 1973, when Annalise was 20, her symptoms became worse. She started to show bouts of aggression which would fade into a deep depression. She would speak of demonic visions in her dreams and how she could hear voices damning her to hell. Her parents were convinced she was possessed. Naturally, her parents were terrified and sought out help from a Catholic bishop, Joseph Stengel. The bishop was able to seek authority from Rome to perform an exorcism on the girl between 1975 and 1976. They performed 70 rituals in an attempt to cure the girl, however, it only led to her death. An autopsy report concluded that death was due to malnutrition and dehydration as a result of these exorcisms. The case went to trial and was highly publicized. The court ruled that Annalise's parents and the Catholic officials involved were guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 6 months in jail. The infamous case inspired the 2005 horror movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Number 2. The Smurls Poltergeist. The Smurl family case is one of the most highly scrutinized exorcism cases in history. This case gained much publicity due to extreme circumstances. In 1974, Jack and Janet Smurl claimed a malevolent entity possessed their home in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. The symptoms of this possession included foul-smelling odors being detected randomly around the home, the family dog being thrown violently against the wall, people being pushed down the stairs, as well as sexual and physical abuse directed towards Jack. This was a truly terrifying account which caught the attention of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. They deemed the house to be disturbed by a very powerful demon upon inspection. Although exorcisms were performed, nothing seemed to work as the family believed the demon was able to move freely within the walls of their large home during the procedures. After several Holy Ghost blessings and prayers on behalf of the Smurls, the forces ultimately receded. Janet still claims she experienced some form of spiritual encounters up until 1987. Number 1. Clara Germana Selly. Clara Germana Selly was an orphan girl from Natal, South Africa. In 1906, when she was just 16 years old, she began exhibiting odd behavior. She was speaking and understanding languages she had no exposure to and seemingly became a kind of clairvoyant, knowing intimate things about people she had never met before. Witnesses said she displayed a non-human strength and would often be seen levitating. At times when she was speaking in odd languages, witnesses described her voice as contorting into the tone of a veritable herd of wild beasts orchestrated by Satan. It was only later, during a spell of normality, that Selly confessed that she had made a deal with Satan and handed her body over to him. A 2-day exorcism was performed. After the procedure, the evil was reportedly expunged.